AM weather is made possible by grants from the Federal Aviation Administration. Hilton Hotels, America's business address. The Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. The AOPA Air Safety Foundation. The National Business Aircraft Association. Phillips Petroleum Company. And Showalter Flying Service, Orlando.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to AM Weather. I'm Carl Weiss.
And I'm Joan Bonan. Well, a slow-moving cold front moving across the eastern part of the country kept most of the northeast yesterday rather damp and dreary. Over to this morning's national map, we find that light rain, drizzle, and fog covered most of the east from New England into the mid-Atlantic region and then back through the Great Lakes. Last night, visibilities were near zero in parts of the New York City metropolitan area. This made some travel hazardous for sports fans who were attending the last game of the World Series last evening. And then an isolated thunderstorm produced pea-sized hail in northeastern parts of Monroe County, also in New York. Well, rainfall amounts with this storm system were generally on the light side. Last evening, Washington, D.C. picked up 1/2 inch of rain, and 1/3 of an inch was picked up at both Fort Belvoir and Camp Springs, Maryland. Well, showers and thunderstorms also extended across southern Florida with a stationary front, and record highs were also set in southern Florida yesterday. Miami checked in with 88 degrees, as did West Palm Beach, while Hollywood, Florida set a record with 87 degrees. Well, moving back through the Mississippi Valley and the Plain States, we find that fair weather prevailed there yesterday, but temperatures were rather mild. 70-degree readings reached as far north as the northern and central plains and the Mississippi Valley, with 70s also as far north as the eastern sections of Montana. But in the northwest, a cold front moving across the northern Rockies cooled things off. It also produced some showers from the Rockies back out to the Pacific Northwest coast. 20 to 40 mile-per-hour winds were common yesterday with this front along the east slopes of the Rockies, and 55 mile-per-hour winds were clocked at Livingston, Montana. Well, that front that's moving into the plains this morning is not expected to produce much in the way of rain, but if it does, it certainly will add to the rainfall totals at Omaha, Nebraska, who so far received 5 2/10 inches of rain this month. This already has made it the wettest October since 1900. Well, that takes care of Tuesday morning's national map, and Carl, on satellites, you get a good look at just why these fronts are so slow moving.
I think there's finally some signs that the weather systems will start to pick up speed as winds at high levels in the atmosphere are increasing over the western third of the nation. Now let's get over to our satellite motion, and we pick up the motion at 7 o'clock on Monday morning. At that time, early yesterday, the frontal zone was hugging the eastern seaboard, still bringing showers and some drizzle to most of the east, and as the motion starts, we'll see the cloud cover move offshore. More clouds, low and middle clouds, with the upper level storm system moving through the Appalachians. Second time through the satellite motion, we see the clouds now streaming in from the west coast and the frontal zone moving quickly through the northern plains. Next up, we have a close-up view of the eastern part of the United States, a picture taken at 4 o'clock this morning. And many times we talk about the upper-level storm system, and usually it's co-located with the surface frontal features. Well, not so this morning. We have them separated. Here's the surface front with some pretty good showers and thunderstorms well offshore, while the upper-level trough with mainly middle and low clouds is hanging back from the St. Lawrence Valley southwestward through the Appalachians. Now we'll take a look at the entire western hemisphere, and this image was taken at 11:30 last evening Eastern Time. Of course, we still have the cloud cover over the eastern part of the United States and the Gulf Stream. Fair skies back through the nation's midsection. We see a complicated frontal zone and big low pressure system in the northern Pacific. Cloudiness will be on the increase over the west. Some thunderstorms over Central America and over the tropics of South America. Let's go now to our very latest enhanced satellite picture taken at 5:30 this morning Eastern Standard Time. And just to the south of Newfoundland, a huge area of showers and thunderstorms, and most of these trailing southward over the Atlantic Ocean. More thunderstorms to the east of Yucatan and covering most of Central America. It's a fair but cool morning down the Mississippi Valley, and some clouds and a few light sprinkles with a frontal zone over the northern Great Plains. Turning now to radar, we see a weak frontal system bringing a few showers to portions of the plateau just to the east of Salt Lake City. These showers are dropping toward the east-southeast. Over the northern plains, a few more shower tops ranging from 17,000 feet over North Dakota to 24,000 feet over the Black Hills. A few sprinkles also falling this morning over the mountains of Vermont and most of New York State southward into the Poconos of eastern Pennsylvania. Highest tops near Syracuse only around 14,000 feet, and these showers are moving toward the east-southeast as well. As we saw in our satellite view, most of the heavy thunderstorms have moved offshore with the frontal zone, but a few more are cutting across central and southern Florida where the front is stationary. Highest tops to the east of Palm Beach around 35,000 feet. Let's go to our very latest radar picture from Miami, Florida, and we see to the north of Palm Beach pretty good showers and thunderstorms right along the Florida coast. More to the north of Miami and a few more over the Bahamas and a few sprinkles west of Miami near Naples. Joan?
Well, we're all caught up in the current weather, so let's move right into the forecast segment of our program. We'll start by taking a look at the high temperatures for Tuesday afternoon. Highs will be in the 50s from New England through the upper Mississippi Valley and the northern plains and then into the interior northwest. 50s also down into the central Rockies. Otherwise, 60s and 70s across much of the rest of the country with 80s from the deserts of the southwest to the Texas Gulf Coast. 80s also over most of southern Florida. Now, overnight lows will be below freezing from the northern high plains into the northern Rockies, also from the northern plains into the upper Mississippi Valley. Below freezing temperatures are also expected for a small part of southeastern Utah and northeastern sections of Arizona. Otherwise, temperatures will be in the 30 to 50 degree range with milder 60s in the deserts of the southwest and extreme southern Texas, 60s and 70s over much of Florida. Now, on our first forecast map for this evening, we find the stationary front will continue to produce a better than even chance of showers and thunderstorms across most of central and southern Florida. Otherwise, most of the precipitation this evening will be north of the border with some scattered rain and showers over the Maritimes. Area of scattered rain and showers from Quebec into northwest Ontario with snow behind the cold front into Hudson Bay. Snow in the northern parts of Saskatchewan and into British Columbia with scattered area of rain and showers southward into the southern portions of Saskatchewan just at the Canadian border. Then a new frontal system will be offshore and it promises to bring some scattered showers towards the Pacific Northwest coast by early tomorrow morning. Where we'll find that front approaching closer to the coast, bringing some scattered rain from northern California northward into British Columbia where the best chance of that rain lies. Scattered rain and showers then extends down into the northern Rockies. We find another frontal system across central Canada will produce some snow from Manitoba into Alberta, some scattered rain showers in the northern high plains and into North Dakota. Then we find that other frontal system moving through the eastern lakes will produce some scattered rain and showers from the Midwest northward into Canada with a better than even chance of rain throughout most of Quebec. And we'll find a better than even chance of some snow in the northern sections of that province. High pressure will keep skies fair along most of the east coast, but that stationary front will continue to produce some scattered showers and thunderstorms across much of central Florida. Then finally on Thursday morning we find that stationary front will continue to produce some scattered showers and thunderstorms across Florida. Scattered rain and showers over the northeast with snow behind that cold front in Canada. High pressure will keep skies fair over the upper Great Lakes, but we find some scattered showers from the northern high plains into the northern Rockies. Better than even chance of rain and showers right along the Pacific Northwest coast with snow across Alberta and into British Columbia. Carl?
Next up are our 5-day weather outlooks of both temperature and precipitation, and this will take us right through Saturday. Looking first at temperatures, we see the weather pattern setting up with strong winds across the northern part of the nation. That should keep all the cold air well north in Canada. Near normal temperatures from the west coast across the Great Lakes and down to the Gulf coastal states, with warmer than normal temperatures expected from the Mississippi Valley southwestward through the southern Rockies. Looking next at the precipitation outlook, we do see with the storm track generally across the northern tier of states, we expect wet weather from the Pacific Northwest coast into the northern plains and generally normal amounts of precipitation through the Plain States, Great Lakes, and into northern New England. The only spot in the south where precipitation will be on the heavy side will be down over central and southern Florida with wet weather expected there. Joan?
Pilots, it's time for Carl and me to remind you to be sure to pick up your detailed weather briefing before you fly. As always, that's because our flying maps are only intended for planning purposes. Now, on this morning's flying map, we have marginal VFR and IFR conditions from the Canadian Maritimes into the central Gulf states and back up to the Great Lakes. This is in a combination of fog and rain. Low conditions and showers and thunderstorms over most of southern Florida. Low conditions also throughout parts of the lower Mississippi Valley as well as the lower Texas Gulf Coast. VFR weather across the Plains, Rockies, and Intermountain region, but low conditions from northwest Ontario to British Columbia. Fog is lowering visibilities along most of the west coast. There's no icing this morning, but there is one area of turbulence. That's in the northeast, and it's due to the jet stream. It's found between 20 and 40,000 feet. Now, by this evening, we look for low conditions with that stationary front across southern Florida. Low conditions again over the Canadian Maritimes and along the lower Texas Gulf Coast. Marginal VFR and IFR weather and snow and rain from the upper Great Lakes northward to Hudson Bay. Low conditions also from the northern plains into Canada along the Pacific Northwest coast as well as along the coast of Southern California. Looking at the turbulence for this evening, it picks up a bit, moderate below 10,000 feet in cold air in the upper Midwest. Jet stream turbulence again along the East Coast, and moderate to severe turbulence as high as 35,000 feet in those showers and thunderstorms for most of central and southern Florida. It's time for winds aloft, and Carl starts them at 2,000 feet above ground level.
We have two separate cells of high pressure over the Rocky Mountain states and a third one down over the Tennessee Valley. Here's the low pressure trough with the frontal zone over the northern plains. 4 areas of wind speeds running more than 25 knots. Moving up to 10,000 feet, we do see winds 25 to 50 knots over the northern plains, upper Mississippi Valley, and most of the middle Atlantic states, with a ridge of high pressure once again north-south through the Rockies. Heading up to 18,000 feet, winds are on the strong side across the northern tier of states, 25 to 50 knots, mainly out of the west and northwest, and the bottom of the jet stream can be seen cutting across northern Florida, those southwesterly winds running right around 50 knots. And finally, up at 34,000 feet, the reason that the winds and the systems are picking up along the west coast, we have a jet stream moving in across northern California eastward into the northern plains, with wind speeds there running more than 50 knots. Up next is Weather Watch, and Joan has the full story.
We'll start Weather Watch this Tuesday morning up in the Great Lakes, where there is a special marine warning in effect for St. Mary's River due to fog. At 4:15 a.m. Eastern Time, the Coast Guard closed the St. Mary's River to navigation. This fog is expected to clear by mid-morning. Then small craft advisories are up starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time along the south shore of Lake Superior from Grand Marais to Whitefish Point, the west and south shores of Whitefish Bay, the St. Mary's River system, and the approaches to the Straits of Mackinac on Lakes Huron and Michigan. Winds are out of the southwest from 10 to 20 knots. Now, fog is also prompting travelers advisories in the northern half of Wisconsin this morning. Moving out west, we find fog is prompting travelers advisories until mid-morning in the northwestern parts of California. Then small craft advisories are flying along the Pacific coast from Point Conception to Point St. George, California for hazardous seas. Swell is westerly at 9 feet, increasing to 14 feet by Wednesday. Advisories are also up along the Oregon coast for south to southeast winds from 15 to 20 knots, increasing to 30 knots this afternoon. Finally, advisories are up along the Washington coast for heavy swell. Well, that's it for this Tuesday morning. Have a nice day and join us again on Wednesday.
AM weather is made possible by grants from the Federal Aviation Administration. Hilton Hotels, America's business address. The Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. The AOPA Air Safety Foundation. The National Business Aircraft Association. Phillips Petroleum Company. And Showalter Flying Service, Orlando.